you for taking your time out and to join us. Today's webinar is on teacher leadership. So we will be discussing uh, three key questions. What is teacher leadership? Why is it important? Why should we care about it? And also, how is it developed and enacted in the context of a school? Uh, there are different definitions of teacher leadership. I will share with you what literature says and also how we define as a NUGSE community, what is teacher leadership to us in the context of our academic program. So if you look at the literature, you will find hundreds of definition by different people, but what researchers and people who have expertise in the area of educational leadership, particularly in teacher leadership, what they agree is that teacher leadership is the process by which teachers individually as well as collectively influence their colleagues, their fellow teachers, the school leaders, principals, vice principals, department heads, subject coordinators, and other members of the school communities to improve teaching and learning practices with the aim of increased student learning outcomes and accomplishments. So this is, as you can see, that it's all about influencing each others, influencing in a positive manner. So as teacher leader, you can influence your fellow teachers, you can also influence the school leaders and other members of the school community towards a positive change. You can influence policy, you can influence decision making at the school level. So what is the difference between a teacher and a teacher leader? Uh, you know, uh, the difference is that not all teachers are teacher leaders, but all teacher leaders are teachers. So you can see the fine line between them. So when you will be characterized as teacher leader, when you are doing something beyond your routine teaching, when you are thinking of the school as a unit of change, not just your subject, not just your small classroom. You are taking the school as an institution where you have a role. So you don't necessarily wait for the principals or school directors to take all decisions. You contribute to those decisions. You have a point of view. You have a vision for the school. And you actually share that vision with your fellow teachers and your school leaders. And you influence their thinking about what you think. So that's what teacher leadership starts. At NUGSE, we believe that the concept of leading and teaching are closely interlinked, they are intertwined. As leaders teach, guide, and mentor their staff members, followers, teachers also guide, mentor, and lead their students and colleagues. So if you take leadership in any context, school context or higher education context or even in corporate sector, you will see that every teacher does teach in one way or the other. When I say teach, it doesn't mean that there is a formal classroom, there are formal students, and the leader is teaching them. But the way leaders work with their staff members, with their followers, also has a lot of teaching, a lot of mentoring, a lot of guidance, a lot of facilitation. An important role of teachers in the 21st century is not just to transfer knowledge from one source to another source, but to lead, inspire, and influence their fellow teachers and others towards a positive change. So this is the context in which we will be talking about teacher leadership. Why it is important? Why teacher leadership? Okay, again, I will share with you how it is explained in the literature and also how we explain in the context of Nazarbayev University Graduate School of Education. Okay. Within every school, doesn't matter which school it is, whether it's a private school or public sector school, community-based school, international school, local school, rural schools or urban schools. Within every school, there is a sleeping giant of teacher leadership, which once awakened can be a strong catalyst for making change happen. So every school, you will have one principals and maybe a couple of deputy principals or vice principals, but you have a greater number of teachers. Many more teachers than principal or vice principals. And that pool of teachers, whether they are 20 or 25 or 200 or 300, it is called that they are the sleeping joint leaders. Why they are called sleeping joints? Because they are not, seen as leaders as such. When you take leadership as a position, when you think that leadership is a position, then the principals and vice principals are considered the leaders. But when you take leadership as a practice, which can be engaged by a variety of community members in a school, then position doesn't matter. What matters is your leadership skills. What matters is your vision. What matters is your influence. So even if you do not have the formal positional leadership, you are leader because you have a vision, because you can influence other people. So that needs some kind of awakening. Not many teachers exert their influence. Not many teachers think that they are leaders. Many of them think that their job is just to teach students, and taking decisions, thinking of the school improvement, developing a strategic plan is the responsibility of the principals or those people who have positional leadership. So that's why these authors say that there is a sleeping giant of teacher leadership that needs to be awakened in order to influence positive change in the school. Teacher leadership is connected to two very important dimensions of educational change or school improvement. One of them is moral purpose, and the second is change agentry. What is moral purpose? Moral purpose is to make a difference and bring improvement, which keeps teacher close to the needs of children and youth. Every teacher is aware of the moral purpose embedded in his or her role as teacher. And that moral purpose is that the future of these young children, to a great extent, is in our hands as teachers. We can make their future or we can break their future. That is that important. It's not just being a teacher doesn't mean teaching them 2 + 2 is 4, or or this is verb, or this is noun, or this is adjective, or any other concept. Yes, they are important. That's our primary role, to teach them, to help them develop conceptual understanding of the topic we change. But for us, there is a much bigger role beyond teaching of concepts. And that bigger role is that moral responsibility. How are we going to influence these innocent minds, these young minds? How are we going to develop them as future leaders? So that is what the moral purpose is. And the change agentry is to develop better strategies for accomplishing the moral goals. Yes, we are aware of our moral responsibility. But now, how we can fulfill that moral responsibility? We need certain plans, we need certain strategies, certain techniques, certain ways of approaching that moral purpose. So these are two very important parts of teacher leadership. Another thing is, those of you who read literature, I'm sure everybody does, especially literature on leadership. There is a growing consensus amongst researchers, professionals, and experts on leadership that the heroic model of leadership has failed. And what was the heroic leadership model? The heroic leadership is like a movie. You know, if you watch a Hollywood movie, things are going worse, people are in trouble, and then one hero emerges and fixes everything, and at the end everybody is happy. It's a happy ending. So and that hero is, some kind of a unique person who can beat, hundreds of people, and who cannot die, who can kill other people. These all imaginary things. So that kind of a leadership model used to exist in the past. People used to think that there is always one, hero in a school or in any institution who can change or who can transform the school or that institution. But now with research, people have come to the realization that no, there is no one hero in any school or institution. Everybody working in that school, in that institution, is a leader. Okay, so in that context, uh, it's not just the school director or principal who is a leader. Every teacher working in that school is a leader and needs to have leadership contribution. So this realization will lend to the need of distributed leadership, that leadership is distributed. It doesn't lie with one individual only. It is shared across the board. Everybody has some kind of leadership role in the school or institution. Okay. So teacher leadership cultivates largely untapped talent and resources for change and improvement, and shared accountability for student achievement as well as school improvement. So in your school, if you have 25 teachers, there are 25 individuals, and they have different talents. One of them could be good at strategic thinking, another one could be good, very good problem solver. The third one has, creative thinking, innovation. The fourth one has, another intelligence and talents. So we need to tap on those talents and bring them out and make use of them in order to transform the school, in order to change the school. And the last slide is, I like these 5 points made by Harris and Allenberg and also Holden. They argue that teacher leadership helps transform a school into a professional learning community where all members can learn and grow together. This is a very important point. School is a learning community, and it's not just the students who come to learn. Teachers also learn. Principal also learn. Vice principals, department head, everybody, even parents, when they come to your school for meetings or for events, they also learn something. So learning is not confined to students only. In a learning community, every member learns. Teachers learn from their own practices, from their own reflection. They improve year by year. Principals also learn from their own practices, leadership practices, from literature, from other avenues which are available for their learning. Number two is building professional skills and internal capacity to initiate and sustain positive change in schools. So teacher leadership can help in building professional skills and internal capacity. So a school capacity is dependent on the collective capacity of teachers and all other members in the school. It cannot be measured by the capacity of one principals or couple of vice principals. So as teachers, we collectively contributed to the overall capacity of a school, what the school is capable of achieving. Number three, teacher leadership can enhance teachers' own self-esteem, their own confidence in their own abilities, their job satisfaction and their motivation, and ultimately leading to improved performance. So when teachers realize that they have their own talents, they can go for self-efficacy, they are professional, they can contribute to the overall development of school, it will boost their own morale, their own confidence. And that improved confidence or enhanced confidence can result in greater job satisfaction and motivation. And teacher leadership, when teachers realize their own leadership and they start enacting it, it can diminish teachers' alienation and absenteeism. Research has proved this. When teachers realize their untapped talent and they start harnessing those talents, they get together, they build a community. They do not work in silos. They are no longer alienated individuals. They are a community. There is a teamwork, there is a group work. So that can have a positive influence on reducing teachers' absenteeism as well. And the last point that the authors are making is teacher leadership can enhance collective thinking and collective decision making and ownership of those decisions. So not every decision should be coming from the principals or school director, but teachers should be part of those decisions. How does it work? How does teacher leadership work in a school context? It's not a rocket science. There are simple steps, simple but effective steps, okay? It starts from your own classroom. You start exercising your leadership in your classroom. Even if you are working in a school which is highly bureaucratic, highly hierarchical, where decisions come from the top to the bottom. But the moment you enter your classroom, it is your kingdom. It is your decision what you are going to do in that classroom and how you are going to do in that classroom. So your leadership starts there. You become a model teacher. And very soon, you start working with other teachers. That is the staff room or school corridors or wherever you meet your fellow teachers. So you have proved that you have leadership skills and you have become a model teacher within your own classroom, the four walls of your classroom. Your students are happy. You are making a positive impact on their learning. And now you have something to share with your fellow teachers. How do you do it? Why your students are happier? Why your students enjoy your lessons? Maybe you have something different that you can share with your other colleagues, your fellow teachers. Excuse me. So now, see, your role is gradually and slowly expanding beyond your classroom. So now you are becoming noticed in the staff room or corridors. Teachers, your fellow teachers are interested to talk to you and to discuss ideas with you, and you are helping them as their critical fact. It will not stop here. Now it will go to outside the staff room and it will spread in the entire school that you have developed a group of teachers who are working as critical friends, collaborators, and you are discussing ideas, you have some innovative ideas, and you can share them school-wide. So this is how you develop from critical friends, a smaller group, to school as a learning community where everybody is interested to learn. And it will not remain inside your school. Eventually, it will go out of the school Other schools will also learn that your school is doing something good. Your school is becoming a learning organization. Your school is being noticed in the wider community. And this is how you will gradually influence system-wide learning. And when I say system-wide learning, I mean your school can become a model for other schools. Okay, now there is a lot of discussion on teacher leaders' role. How teacher leadership will change your role. You know, there is a traditional role for a teacher that your job is to plan for your lessons, to deliver your lesson, assess students' learning, do whatever documentation is required, etc. But when you start as a teacher leader, you have different roles as well. And I have divided these roles into formal roles and informal roles. So the formal roles of a teacher leader include school leadership team. You can become part of school leadership team. You can be member of a committee or a chair of a committee, or in staff meeting, you can have a role. You can be appointed as a mentor to other teachers, novice teachers, new teachers. You can become a curriculum specialist, subject leader within your subject department. You can do some kind of policy advocacy. You know, you are, for example, uh, you are promoting gender equality in your school. How can you influence the school policy to have gender equality or inclusive education? You can do a policy advocacy for that. Your formal role can include a professional development provider. You can organize seminars for your teachers and for others. And action researchers, many teachers, become action researchers. So these are the formal role under which you can exercise your teacher leadership. What are informal roles? Even if you don't have these formal roles, you can still develop a study group leader. You can, invite other teachers to study a book. You are inspired by a book, and you can, ask your fellow to read that book and bring, some innovative ideas for discussion. You can become a committee chair that can be formal as well as informal, depending on your school, how it treats committees. Union representative, and when I say union, it's a professional union. It's not a pressure union. It's not a political union. Organizers of various events, activities, instructional specialist. You are good at doing, group work or collaborative or cooperative group work, and you can help other teachers learn how they can develop collaborative learning in their own classroom. And you can work as a critical fan, observe your colleagues' lessons and give them feedback, etc. How do we do it at NUGSE? So this is, I'm sure, those of you who are interested to know more about NUGSE and its academic programs, you will be interested how we develop teacher leadership. Okay, so first I will share with you on the kind of academic programs that we have. We have a PhD in education. We have a Master of Arts in multilingual education. We have a Master of Science in educational leadership, which has 3 specializations. One is school education, second is higher education, and third one is inclusive education. So we have these 5 major programs. And one of the things that is common across this program is the very aim of offering these programs. And that aim is to equip our graduates with the necessary leadership skills to work collaboratively in teams, manage time and work engage in evidence-based decision-making, challenge practices and policies, assumptions critically, and navigate the dynamics of complex organizations like schools and other educational institutions. So every program has an aim to develop the participants as leaders who can do this kind of work. So that's where the teacher leadership comes. Okay. And how do we achieve this aim? Uh, we have a variety of ways to approach that. One of them is through coursework. In each program, there are a number of courses targeted to develop your leadership skills, your teacher leadership skills. We have courses called Introduction to Educational Leadership, which can expose you to leadership theories, philosophies, models, effective leadership, etc. We offer school improvement and effectiveness courses, in which we also discuss the role of leadership in school improvement and effectiveness. We also offer an interesting course called Teacher Professional Identity. In this course, the focus is on teacher leadership, ethical leadership, moral leadership. Across the MSc and MA program, we offer project-based course internship. So you actually go to your own school or another institution and you conduct a project. You plan this project, you conceptualize from the very beginning, you develop it, you implement it, you evaluate and monitor it. So that includes a lot of decision making, negotiation, planning, implementation, and those are leadership skills that you learn. Learning to work, at the end of each program, students also take this course to synthesize their learning and to develop a change agenda and also a career planning. So once you graduate from NUGSE, what are you going to do? So you develop that kind of an understanding and planning as part of this course. And also we offer educational reforms and role of leadership in those reforms courses across our MSc and MA program. You will read a lot about the success of educational reforms and the leadership contribution to that success. So altogether, these courses can help students develop a strong conceptual base of leadership theories and models, explore and reflect on your own leadership philosophies and practices. And also practice your leadership in a variety of ways when you are here with us as a student. The second approach to develop leadership skills is through research and service. So in every program, academic program, students conduct thesis research. You are required to carry out an empirical study, original study, and submit a thesis. And this entire process, is a good opportunity for you to test your leadership skills as well while you are doing research. And what are those leadership skills? Again, it is decision making. From the very beginning, what topic you actually choose for your research and why do you choose that particular topic? How do you plan for that research? How do you carry out that research? There are, multiple steps of making decisions as you do this research. So when you are done with your thesis, it's not just a piece of research, nice piece of research that you have developed, and it's also the leadership that you have developed as a result of this research. Critical thinking, analytical skills, communication, taking a position or argument and defending it. These are all leadership skills that you can develop throughout your research work. In addition to research work, students serve in university-wide boards, councils, and committees. For example, students can become member in the research council, academic council, and within GSE, there are a variety of, a number of committees where students participate as members. That is another opportunity to develop your leadership skills. Students also work as teaching assistant, research assistant, graduate assistant, and they work under the mentorship of experienced faculty, yet another opportunity to develop your teacher leadership. And students also get opportunity to present their work in national and international conferences. So this slide, I just wanted to sum up what I have presented to you. Is the difference again? Remember, we started with the difference between teacher and teacher leader. So what is the difference? If you look at these arrows, one arrow is going up, teacher, and one arrow is going down, teacher leader. Okay. And in this diagram, why, how, and what. If you start from top to bottom, you start with the why, and then how, and then what. But if you start from bottom up, it is what, how, and why. So as teacher, we usually start from bottom up. We first ask, what are we going to teach? What am I going to teach? Okay, so I'm going to teach, fraction in mathematics. This is the topic I am going to teach. How am I going to teach? I will have this strategy, that strategy. I will use, these teaching aids to explain the concept of fraction. And why am I teaching this fraction? What is important about fraction or any other topic? Or even a broader question. Why am I teaching in the first place? So that refers to the purpose, values, and beliefs about why you teach, okay? So see, what comes first, then how, then why. But in teacher leadership, why comes first. You approach from top to bottom. First you ask, why am I a teacher? What is my purpose to be in this profession? Why have I joined this profession in the first place? What are my values that I cannot compromise with? And then how am I going to work in this profession as a teacher? What tools, strategies, methods, approaches I have? What capacity do I have? And then, how am I going to use these tools, strategies, and methods? And then what am I going to teach? Okay. So I will ask you, if you at the end of this presentation, I think I have one last slide, and then we can have discussion. And I would like you to, some of you at least, to explain to me what you understood by this one particular slide. What does it mean to start from bottom up or top down? Here is the last. So in conclusion, I would say that leaders, whether they are in school or educational organizations or corporate sector or at home, leaders are not always born, okay? They develop. Thus, everyone has the potential to become a leader. The difference is that some people identify their leadership skills, talent, and develop them, and others do not identify and do not develop them. Otherwise, people are born with numerous talents, including leadership talent. So at NUGSE, our main role is to bring out your hidden talents, to help you bring out your own talents and develop them, harness them. Many of our graduates are now in key leadership positions, in formal positions, within and outside Kazakhstan. and they are making positive impact on organizations and people they work with. They are working as school directors, deputy directors, they are working in Ministry of Education, they are working with private organizations. So in many places, you will see our graduates exercising their leadership skills. This includes those who are working as teachers, but they are doing their leadership role as teachers as well. For a teacher leader, the classroom is the laboratory where you generate knowledge. It's not a bank. A classroom is not a bank where you deposit knowledge, but it's a laboratory where you generate knowledge. And NUGSE helps you enact your leadership and develop it further. So we prepare you as a laboratory expert. So once you go back from NUGSE, you can turn your classroom into a laboratory of knowledge generation. Teacher leadership is not about a formal position, but about a vision which is accompanied by certain values and actions that can influence people to support you in the change process. So I have highlighted this for 5 words: vision, values or action, influence, and process. And this is deliberate because if you defined leadership in one sentence, or teacher leadership in one sentence, teacher leadership is all about having a clear vision, directions, and determining certain values that can help you move towards that vision, go towards that vision. And that vision can help you influence other teachers to join you, so you are not alone in going towards that destination. And this is how the change process starts in your school. So we say, some of us say that you come with a vision, and we at NUGSE will help you realize that vision. Thank you very much. I will stop here, and I do hope that we can have some discussion. Over to you, Aidana, if you can facilitate the question and answer.
Yeah, thank you, Professor Mir. So for now, I don't see any questions in a question answer box. But if some of our participants would like to ask the question themselves, please raise your hands and I will enable your audio, or please type your questions in the question answer section.
Yeah, Aidana, it would be good if you enable their audio so we can hear them out. That would be good. And it can be question, it could be comment, it could be a suggestion,
Sure.
it could be a disagreement, whatever.
Sure, I'm enabling now. Yes, any questions, comments, feedback?
Okay,
So
maybe a
yeah,
long day, they are tired. So if there is no question and comments, I think we can conclude.
okay, then if there are no questions, we will close our webinar. Thank you everyone for joining us today. Thank you, Professor Mir, for sharing your excellent presentation with us. It was all recorded and will be shared with all participants who have registered but did not attend today's session. Thank you, everyone.
Aidana. Thank you, everyone, for taking your time. This is a Friday evening. I'm sure you have plans for your weekend, so have a nice weekend.